Another sphere-shaped object found floating around in Colombia. Possibly new Mandela effects that are making people question their reality. And new UAP information being released. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to some of the strangest and more thought-provoking clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
Crazy new Mandela effects that I guarantee you have not seen before. When you think of Disney films, what happens in the intro? Well, Tinkerbell goes and dots the I. Like, I'm pretty sure you all remember that happening, right? But it didn't. It never did. Apparently there's never been a dotting of the I. It's always just been that. Now, this one's caused outrage for years. Like, I swear, all of you will remember the robber emoji. There was one that was running, and there was one that was like that. But no, never existed. Yeah, and even crazier for the older generation, back in the 70s, 80s, there was a movie with Sinbad called Shazam. Everybody remembers it. Like, how do we even have these screenshots? But no, it never existed. There was never a movie, anything similar to this, with him in. So why does everybody remember it? Similar to that generation again, you probably remember the Bernstein Bears. Go and ask your parents right now, do they remember the Bernstein Bears? But it was always called the Bernstein Bears. And for years, people have been like, Stain Bears? Not a chance. By far, the craziest one that I only found out about recently is E.T. You remember the famous line, E.T. phone home? Well, that didn't happen. It was always E.T. home phone. What?
I'm pretty certain I'm aware of all of those, but let me know in the comments, are you aware of any of these Mandela effects, or did they exist for you at some point? Or is there any new Mandela effects that are going around? Something that you swear was one way, but it's completely different now.
What you're seeing here was filmed just outside Yumbo, Colombia. A strange metallic sphere hovering silently above the countryside. There are no wings, no rotors, no exhaust. It doesn't make a sound. The object glides through the air with an eerie smoothness, showing none of the wobble or sway you'd expect from a balloon or hanging object. As it drifts across the sky, its movements appear deliberate, controlled but oddly unnatural. Online viewers quickly jumped in with theories. Some say it's advanced military tech or a high-altitude drone, while others argue it's CGI, a clever hoax. But this isn't the first time Colombia's skies have hosted something like this. In nearby Buga, researchers recently discovered a solid metallic sphere, about 2 meters wide, with no visible seams and mysterious inscriptions etched into its surface. So, what is this thing? A hoax? Secret tech? Or something not from Earth at all? You decide. Let us know in the comments and follow Confirmed for more real UFO sightings caught on camera.
I don't know, I'm starting to think that these are operated by a drone. The very last bit of that video, when it zoomed really close into the sphere, you could see it wobble and shake a little bit. It didn't look like some kind of object that was just magically floating through the air. It looked like something that was dangling from a string. There's probably really solid fishing line that's hooked up to that thing, and a drone that's way off camera that's operating the little sphere. For the most part, this video stays fairly cropped in on the sphere, and if you notice, the crop in also favors the lower half of the sphere. I don't know, that's just my guess, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm starting to see a pattern here, and it's just looking like something viral happened and now people are replicating it, or they're copying exactly what was done in the first place. But let me know your theories on this, because that definitely did not look real. It did not look AI generated. It looked like a real field, but just its movement did not look real at all.
Most dangerous of all these things are the brain to computer interfaces, or BCIs they call them. And they're actually implanted inside the skull, but rest outside the brain rather than within the gray matter. And when these professors connect themselves to computers or other devices, they are typically PhD, and PhDs are very, but there's something that goes along with a PhD, and that's pride. And One of the things that startles me is to realize that these people, and I've trafficked with many of them in government labs and elsewhere, have usually zero insight theologically. They have no grasp of the field of study called demonology, and a field within which there are things called entries, ways that demons can gain access. And when you open up communication channels, those are two-way channels. So the kinds of things that are possible, I'm not saying they're prevalent at the moment, but are possible, are really quite disturbing. But anyway, the best resolution if you're going to do this kind of study is direct connection, and people are doing things like that.
I have never heard of Chuck Missler. He's just popped up on my feed out of nowhere. It says that this video was taken about 11 years ago, so it's fairly old, but it sounds like he was onto something then. And with Elon Musk's brain chip, or whatever it's called, Neuralink, he was onto something. Now, I'm not saying that demons or anything like that exist, but if they do, tapping into your brain in a weird way would probably be one way for them to enter your mind. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and or subscribed, I upload a video every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel.
I have to be on the Truman Show. My life has got to be a simulation. I go for a walk in the cemetery every single morning. Totally normal. Well, this morning I'm finishing the last little bit of my walk, and I look up and I see a man walking down the road. And I say, shit, we're going to end up in the intersection at the same time at 5 o'clock in the morning in a cemetery. Awkward for most people. For me, I knew it was going to be weird because it's 5 o'clock in the morning in the cemetery. He looks up and sees me, and he doesn't just continue to walk up the road. No, he turns into the cemetery, walks over by the pole, down by the mailbox, gets out a pack of Marlboro Reds, pulls out a knife out of his pocket, opens it, walks over, lays it on the side of the walkway, walks back to the pole, starts smoking his cigarette. I laugh because that's the most ridiculous thing that you could encounter in the cemetery aside from ghosts and goblins and bullshit. The 5 o'clock in the morning knife cigarette bandit. He looks me dead in the eye. I say, "What's up, bro?" Doesn't say a damn word. I think, okay, whatever. I have to walk right past him, and I just freaking did because I don't care. My life is a simulation. This is just a TV show. This is an awkward little moment that they're going to put on reruns over and over again. They're going to clip parts of my TV show, the awkward 5 o'clock in the morning interaction. Yeah, I got a picture of him. Here it is right here. But it doesn't matter. A guy sends me an email the other day, and he says, "You know how to tell if you're chosen or not?" And I say, "No." "Why don't you tell me?" It was an email. It wasn't a back and forth interaction. He said that one of the criteria that you know that you're chosen is all the gang stalking. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He says that's whenever there is a coordinated group of people that are going and following you around to intimidate you, to stop you from your process. I said, "Bro, there's no way my dumbass would ever consider somebody following me to be like an intimidating factor because number one, I would never notice them. They're wasting their freaking time. Number two, it would have to be blatant." Well, how blatant, Alan? I don't know. How about a guy showing up in the cemetery at 5 o'clock in the morning, lighting up a ciggy, laying a knife down, staring me down, and then just wandering off? Timing all that perfectly to where we're both in the intersection at the same time. Simulation or gang stalking. Either way. Why did he lay the knife down on the side of the road? Why did he lay the fucking knife down? Damn it, man.
That does seem like a random NPC thing to do, but he may have just been messing with the guy. I really don't know. That is odd. And I mean, he could have also mistaken the knife for something else. It could have been something completely different. But I will say, gang stalking, I definitely do believe is a real thing. I do believe people suffer from it all the time. I think if you're being targeted for trafficking of any kind, you're probably being gang stalked for sure. So always be aware of your surroundings.
In addition to the watchers, there are the disruptors. Spot them with this sign. The index finger and pinky raised with the middle and ring fingers folded down. Basically, the rock on gesture, also known as the goat. This symbol represents the Baphomet. It signifies rebellion against the established order and devotion to Illuminati's global control. Next are the prospects. They use the OK gesture, where the index finger and thumb form a circle while the other three fingers are extended. This represents the number 666. This sign is often used by those within the entertainment industry to communicate that they're willing to use their wealth and power to be part of the Illuminati's agenda of control. Finally, there's this one, hands down folded into a diamond shape. You'll see this in formal settings, like public ceremonies or award shows. It indicates senior status and high rank in the Illuminati power structure. You'll mostly see this displayed by political and business leaders. These symbols not only signal allegiance to the Illuminati, but also condition the public, quietly preparing society for the New World Order. And every time you see these symbols, you're witnessing a hidden conversation, a dialogue between those who control the world and those who aspire to. You're watching generals give orders to soldiers, and soldiers acknowledging those orders. They're telling us everything they're doing. We just have to learn to read the signs.
I am almost certain that there is some kind of hidden lingo between politicians and celebrities and just all kinds of people that are in high-ranking positions. A little thieves' cant if you know what that is.
Aquí por este pasillo, creo. Estaba diciendo el maestro. Yo escuché algo. Después apagamos esta luz. Se supone que ya no hay nadie. Escucha. Eso fue acá. Bueno, miren, en esta área es donde supuestamente miran a una niña o han visto a una niña. Tanto maestros como otros trabajadores de aquí del lugar dicen que miran a una niña. Uy, güey. ¿Escucharon eso? ¿Escucharon? Entonces... Uy, güey. ¿Escucharon? Escuché una puerta. Pero pues no hay nadie.
Well, the atmosphere is definitely creepy. Whether or not this video is real, I personally think that the chairs moving and the peeping around the corner is probably fake. The building itself is probably really creepy, and it probably does have some odd sounds that happen here and there, which makes great scary video content. The first time that I see the chair move, I would have to investigate the chair to see if there's anything going on with it. I could probably tolerate that. But the shadow figure peeping around the corner, if I seen that, that would startle me for sure. One, you don't know who it is or what it is. It could be a demon, which is terrifying, or it could be a person, and that's equally as terrifying.
There's something hiding at the bottom of the ocean that shouldn't exist. Now, you've heard of sea monsters before, but this ocean cryptid is something else. Because it's so elusive, nobody knows what it is for sure, but it's earned the name, the Black Carpet. And over the course of several years, divers, fishermen, biologists, and crewmen on naval ships have reportedly had encounters with this massive entity. Deep-sea divers who witnessed this thing said it looked like the ocean floor itself was moving. It's been described as this 1,000-foot wide black mass, kind of in the shape of a Portuguese man-o'-war, but also similar to a gigantic siphonophore, although it's not that exactly. And it's said to be covered in thin antennae and has thousands of these retractable tentacles. And according to the stories, this thing slowly roams the ocean floor, gathering nutrients and erasing any trace of life or animal remains in its wake, but it can also hitch a ride on ocean currents for faster travel. In 2005, a story surfaced of this former worker from a German oil rig that was located between Iceland and the Faroe Islands in the North Atlantic. Allegedly, he reported that one of these black carpet cryptids invaded the machinery room of the rig and slowly began to take it over and climb up the pillars of the rig. And apparently the people in charge decided that the best course of action was to abandon the rig entirely because there was nothing they could do to fight this thing off. The official story was that there was an oil leak that couldn't be fixed, so the existence of this creature and that incident was allegedly covered up. Interestingly, it's said that the black carpet makes a similar sound to the recording of the infamous bloop. Maybe they're one and the same. But what do you think? Is this thing real, or is it just a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to follow along for more cryptid videos.
As far as the story goes, cannot say. But if the ocean is as vast and unexplored as they say it is, I am sure that there is some kind of creature that feeds on the very bottom, that dwells under the grime, and that's quite large, that resembles something like that. Like some kind of jellyfish or octopus type creature that just no one's aware of. I could definitely see that being something that exists in the ocean. Probably even in space, really.
So I don't know if you guys heard this, but just a few days after No King's Day, you know, Donald Trump's birthday, a whole bunch of military helicopters and planes were dispatched and the DC airport has been locked down. Something is going on, y'all. Check this out. This guy right here lives in Washington, D.C., and he says he swears he's seen 300 to 400 of these helicopters go by, y'all. Where the hell are they going? There's a lot of them, y'all. Check this out.
Gente, mírenme, han pasado como unos 300, 400 animales. Demasiados animales, chaparro, han pasado, loco. Atrás vienen más, loco. No sé, está cagado, está peligroso, loco.
And apparently it's not just DC, y'all, because this was taken in Alabama. It looks like a whole bunch of Apache helicopters heading probably towards DC.
I don't know what to say about this, everybody, but this is definitely a cause for concern. This is the military tracker here, and as you can see, there is a absolute mass exodus of strato tankers, and they are all hooking up, and they have gotten orders to head over. You can clearly tell that these strato tankers are on their way.
So what's going on with all these planes and these helicopters flying out to Washington, D.C. like America is on some type of Call of Duty type of mission right now, y'all? And why isn't this being reported on the news? You would think the Washington, D.C. Airport shutting down would be big news, y'all. And they're hush-hush about this.
I have not seen this many planes headed, and they are from all over the place.
As quick as these people are to do a press release about everything and none of this is getting reported, y'all, something is happening in the background they don't want people to know about. What do you guys think is going on? These times are very interesting. Let me know down in the comments below. Like, follow, and share for more videos like this. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
I'm not trying to add to the fear-mongering drama or anything. I'm just bringing it up that I have also noticed different types of helicopters and jets going towards the east. I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but it just seems a little odd to me as well.
This story is 100% real, and no one can explain what happened to this group of 9 students. They were all incredibly experienced hikers, and in 1959 decided to set off on a 2-week expedition into the frozen Ural mountain ranges of Russia. A week into their trek, harsh snowstorms forced them to set up camp and wait it out halfway up one of the mountains. These were the last photos taken by the hikers before they went missing. A few weeks later, when they never returned back home to their families, a search party was sent out to find them. The rescue team came across their campsite, and what they found was far worse than what anyone could have ever ever imagined. Their tents were intentionally torn to shreds with a sharp object, yet all of their clothes, gear, and even fresh meals were inside, neatly stacked and untouched among the ruins. They find a journal with a final entry reading, "I wonder what awaits us on this hike. Will anything new happen?" Oh, and were they right about that. All 9 bodies were nowhere to be found, but they see a trail of footprints leading away from the camp and out into the barren Russian tundra. But the footprints were barefoot, even though it would have been like 30 below zero at the time, with the indentations in the snow indicating they walked away in a calm, orderly fashion, as opposed to running away in a panic as you'd expect in a situation like this. They follow the prints and find 5 of the hikers' bodies wearing nothing but their underwear, who would have been in the middle of a massive snowstorm and presumably died of hypothermia. The bodies were mangled, covered in severe cuts, bruises, and strangest of all, 3rd-degree burns. One of them even had a chunk of flesh missing from his right hand and inside of his mouth, like he tried biting his own hand off. Months of searching later, they find the bodies of the 4 remaining hikers in a riverbed 250 feet away, and this is where the story gets even weirder. This time, these hikers' bodies were all wearing the clothes of their dead friends, found in a makeshift shelter like they were trying to hide from someone or something. And these bodies had even more serious injuries all over them: chest fractures, cracked skulls. Some had their tongues and lips cut off, and eyes gouged out of their sockets. Above all, a few of the bodies were radioactive, like they had been recently exposed to nuclear radiation. On record, the official cause of death of this incident was an unknown compelling force which the hikers were unable to overcome. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident, named after the one who led this expedition, Igor Dyatlov. At first glance, it might even seem obvious. A psychopath or a group of psychos came across their encampment, slashed their tents open, and chased them down. But that theory completely fell apart, as upon further investigation, they realized the tents were slashed open from the inside, meaning whatever happened to someone in the tents, presumably one or a few of them. But even then, the neatly folded, unused gear, the near-naked bodies in the middle of the snow, other bodies wearing their friends' clothes with their tongues and eyes gouged out, their radiation. None of it makes any sense, and no one's been able to piece together exactly what happened. Some say avalanche, others say Yeti, some an attack by the local indigenous Mansi tribe people, or just hypothermic delirium. The Dyatlov Pass incident has become one of the biggest unsolved mysteries of the internet, and some theories claim they figured it out. The families of the victims demanded answers from the Soviet government for years, who strangely classified all photos, files, and journals recovered during their search. The area was made off limits, and all other evidence collected was destroyed, which was unusual for a civilian incident, even for the Soviet Union. Kinda like something happened there they didn't want anyone to know about. Well, originally, there were only supposed to be 8 hikers on this trek, but strangely, this guy, Semyon Zolotaryov, was added last second, who was significantly older than the rest, and was also a war veteran with many years of military service, suspected to be an undercover KGB agent, Soviet intelligence, with the true objective of this expedition hidden from the rest of the group, which one particularly interesting theory states its purpose was to test a top-secret Soviet weapon, led by the supposed KGB agent, a mission either gone horribly wrong or him sent in as a sacrifice, as numerous campers in the region claimed they saw strange lights and glowing orbs moving across the sky in the same night, possibly UFOs, or some sort of satellite-based weapon system that led to their untimely demise. And of course, if something like this actually did happen, you can bet the Soviet Union will be quick to cover it up, going as far as even sending restagers as part of the original rescue team to mess around with the campsite and mangle the bodies to confuse investigations, which to be fair does sound something like the KGB would do. But even that doesn't explain the calm, orderly footprints in the snow, the gouged eyes, the tent being cut open from the inside. Maybe they were testing some mind control device that made them all go crazy. No one really knows what happened at Dyatlov Pass. Even the ones who claim they irrefutably solved it are really just guessing. No matter the theory, there's always some element of the story that just doesn't quite fit. On record, this case is still technically unsolved, although it was briefly reopened in 2019 only to rule out any criminal activity, and claiming that a slab avalanche was the most likely cause of the incident, which honestly doesn't really make any sense, and they know it. Only for the case to be closed again, forever a mystery.
I've heard this story talk about Yetis and aliens. I've never once heard it talk about some kind of KGB. That's pretty interesting, and to have someone cover up some kind of mind control experiment that went wrong or right, I would have never have thought of that. Let me know what you guys think about this one. That was actually a different take on this story than I've heard before.
All right, we've got some breaking news, and it looks like the disc-shaped UAP is back. So Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp just dropped military thermal footage of a disc-shaped UFO, and the data behind it is fascinating. This was filmed in November 2020 by a military surveillance platform over the Hindu Kush Mountains in northwest Pakistan. It's at roughly an altitude of 21,000 feet. That's not a weather balloon. At this altitude, balloons max out around 11 meters. This thing, it seems to be about 5 times the size of a car. It was caught traveling over the clouds with no visible propulsion and no thermal exhaust. Let's talk through some of the data points. Analysts confirm the measurements using angular size from pixel data. The field of view, 1 degree. Pixel width, 95 pixels. Distance, 7,200 meters. The math holds, even with frame averaging and zoom, allegedly. Now get this, the object made an abrupt directional change, something even advanced drones can't really pull off at that altitude without exhaust signatures. Now let's keep in mind that this was labeled a dish-shaped UAP by the Department of Defense, which is super interesting. So are we inching forward in disclosure, or are they just testing how we'll react? I will say this, it's kind of creepy. Does it feel creepy to you? I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but let me know what you think this is in the comments. Let's talk about it.
It's really too hard to tell. The video is too dark, but the little circle or sphere or UFO or disc-shaped object, I can see it. Now, I didn't see it make that hard turn that he was talking about, but I do see it up in the clouds. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that that's a real UFO, UAP, or if not, what do you think it is?
Hello friends. So what is the secret to connecting to source? What is the secret to connecting to your higher self, to be able to get that transmission, to turn yourself into a receiver, to fix your antenna and get a clear signal? What is the secret to that? Well, I just got back from a convention retreat thing with Esther Hicks, and it was really awesome. I like her a lot. She's very motivational and inspirational, and she has an amazing energy. And I actually was able to go up into the hot seat on stage for like 30 minutes and directly interface with her and Abraham, who is, you know, like they even call her Abraham Hicks. So Abraham is the higher intelligence that she channels, and she's been doing this for decades, and it's amazing. So I asked, one of the questions I asked was, what is the best way to connect to source? You know, to get a strong, clear connection. I mean, I have all my own tricks and stuff, but like I wanted to know from her, how does she connect? And she said this, and I thought it was very powerful, that it's about feeling, okay? We're, a lot of us, anyways, me especially, are left brain thinkers, and we try to rationalize everything and we analyze everything. So a lot of times we'll get a message and we'll just pick it apart. We'll nitpick it. We'll be like, well, what if this, and what if it meant this, and we'll just, you know, completely just destroy and smash the message to a million pieces. So the problem isn't so much how do we connect, because I think we're always connected. It's kind of like your phone is always connected, but it doesn't mean you answer it every time it rings. So the difference is not being connected. The difference is picking up the phone when it rings, is actually receiving the message, okay? And what she was saying is that a lot of that has to do with feeling, that your body has all of these biofeedback type sensor things, and it will ring alarm bells when you're going off track, and it will give you good feelings, warm and fuzzies, when you're on track. And that the biggest thing is to be in tune with your body, to really dial into your body and what it's telling you, and know the difference between the good and the bad, the negative and the positive, the right and the wrong. So whenever you are going the right way, your body will give you all of this feedback and say, hey, you're doing great, keep going, you're going the right way. And when you're going the wrong way, your body will give you all this feedback, anxiety and nervousness, and sometimes you just get that feeling, that pit in your stomach, or that just kind of knowing, you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. That's it. That is the key. So you got to be in tune with your body. So sometimes you actually have to quiet your mind, the left brain especially, and you have to quiet it and say, hey, I love you, I appreciate everything you do for me, but for right now, just mute and just let me dial into my body and see, how does this feel? Okay, like whatever information is, whatever it is you're pondering, whatever's going on in your life, just think about it, hold it in your consciousness and your awareness, but turn off your brain and just feel. How does this feel? Does it feel right? Does it feel wrong? Go with that and get in tune with your body. Your body's constantly communicating with you, telling you, you know, yay or nay, yes or no, go or no go. And you just have to receive this information. So when it comes to connecting to source, to your higher self, to anything like that, the best thing you can do is just be in tune with your body, because your body is this instrument. It's a biofeedback instrument that's constantly telling you if you're doing the right thing or not. It's just we're usually, you know, just tuned out and not paying attention to it. And then there's a quote that I really like, which is, if you listen to your body when it whispers, you don't have to hear it scream. So that's the whole thing, is like your body's giving you little bitty nudges. Hey, you know, pay attention to us, you know, hey, go this way, don't do that, put that down. It's constantly giving you these little nudges. But then we're really bad about listening to it. So every once in a while, it has to scream, okay? It has to freak out. And that's what like disease and anxiety and all these bad things that we deal with come from, is when we're not listening to the little voices, the little nudges, the little intuitions and insights that your body's constantly giving to you. When you don't listen to that, eventually it has to scream to get you back on track. So I thought that response from Esther was beautiful and amazing. Basically, when I said, how do you connect to source? How do you connect to your higher self? How do you connect to Abraham, this higher intelligence? She said, it's through feeling. It's not through thinking, it's through feeling. Let me know what you guys think about this. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
I'm not sure who this Esther person is. I'm assuming it's a person like Bashar. But overall, the take that he was given was not a bad one. Listen to the little voices inside before they become loud, and you can handle the situation a little bit better. I personally do not believe that you can tap into some kind of alternate being or some kind of higher being, but I do believe that you can take that kind of technique or understanding and help balance yourself mentally. That could help your anxiety. It honestly could make it worse even. But if tuned right, I do believe something like this is basically meditation, or a form of it anyways. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think about all this. It was an interesting topic. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. And with that being said, have a good day.